name's Paul McCarthy with Hero Facility Services, and this is our 8th edition of Facilities First. Today, I'm blessed to have Luke College with Wonder as my guest. And Luke, come on, brother.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you. Last week, I had a crayon eater on the show, and now I got a Navy guy. So, what is it about you military guys? I mean, y'all just seem to attract to facilities.
It must have been a Marine then if he was munching on crayons. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, actually it was. I actually met with a Marine facility manager the other day, and I'm glad he had a good sense of humor because as soon as he came on Zoom, I had a cartoon of a Marine eating crayons.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's enough picking on Marines. They serve well, and we appreciate them.
That's it.
So, Wonder. We talked about it, and it is one of the coolest concepts that I've heard about and I've discussed with you about, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But I want to talk about a little bit your Navy roots, because I always am fascinated with the men and women who serve our country and the transition into the real world. And so what Navy lessons still show up in your daily playbook?
I'd have to say one of the biggest things that have stuck with me for the longest time from the Navy, and this is just from being a junior sailor, looking up to, my senior sailors and bosses and chief petty officers in the Navy. And I actually had a first class petty officer. We're in the middle of the grind of a deployment, and we're all at wit's end. Everybody's on nerve. You just want to go home. And he said to me, this is right after doing some missions, and we were doing some counter drug operations in South America near Colombia. And he pretty much stated the greatest thing I've ever heard. He says, the strength of the storm will determine the strength of your anchors. Choose them wisely. So for me, I've always just placed people in my life from that lesson forward, that no matter what I'm going through, if it's personal, I got a personal anchor. If it's work related, I got a work anchor. If it's just something crazy off the deep end, I got somewhere for that. It might be a shrink, but I've learned to choose my anchors wisely, and it's definitely helped me pursue and be successful in everything I do.
Well, I will tell you this. I'm going to have you text that to me, because that is pretty powerful. God, I could go down a rabbit hole, but I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole. So coming from the military, structured, very regimental, and then you come into restaurant chaos. How did you adapt to it?
I would definitely have to say that in some realities, like there is some relativity, there is some transitioning skill that goes with getting into the restaurant and the facilities management world, because you're just on the daily in the military, you're surprised by everything. Nothing is ever the same. Mm-hmm. Not the same piece of equipment breaks down, not the same piece of vital mission equipment fails. You're just always on your toes every day, no matter what you're doing. And that actually has helped me transition into the facilities world, because as we all know, every day is a new fire. It's a new opportunity. A lot of people hear me say that a lot. It's like every day is a new opportunity. Yeah. And it's a new fire. It's a new equipment. It's a new building. It's a new landlord. Every day is something new. So just saying that, the military definitely kind of helped prep me for just putting out fires, literally and figuratively.
and that's, goes back to one of the reasons why I started Facilities First, because not a lot of people understand the fires that go on behind the scenes for you guys. And I call it Operation Chaos, because you have to be cool, calm, and collected on top, but underneath you're paddling like hell.
Oh, absolutely.
So I always like this, especially with the guys and girls that have been around. So if you had a younger facility manager that you were mentoring, what is rule number one that you're going to pound into their head about facilities and his career path?
I definitely say the first thing to learn, which is great, and it's definitely helped me because I had to learn this as a facilities manager, is seek first to listen. Listen to what's going on. Listen to what the GMs are telling you. Listen to your vendors. You listen to anyone and everyone around you, because that is going to be your key to success, is listening first. Even though you think you might have the answer and you just want to introduce it as fast as you can to the conversation or to what the problem's going on, and take lead. Sometimes if you just take that 5 extra minutes to listen, you're going to learn everything you need to know about what's going on in that problem. And then what you thought you knew, you're completely derailed in the other direction. So instead of backpedaling, I definitely would say listen first.
And that's a great life lesson, whether it's personal or professional. Is so many times we want to jump in and we want to fix the problem right away,
Right.
when if we listen, we can usually fix a problem and we won't have to go back and do it twice or three times, because listening is a powerful thing. And the old saying, they gave you two ears and one mouth for a reason.
That's it.
So you talked about your GMs and your operators, and those people are kind of the heartbeat of your company. And so building relationships with them is very integral to your success and to the company's success. So when you go in and do store visits, when you talk to your GMs, how do you teach them to fight the chaos?
So to put them at ease always is, every time facility shows up, I try to at least get their mindset to where there's trust, there's calm, and we're here to help you. And the first thing I say when I walk in the door is, I'm not here to grade you. I'm not here to belittle anybody. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm here to help you. Let's walk your space. Let's find out things that you might not know that we can teach you now during our walkthroughs to help ease that chaos. Cool. We got a fryer down, a piece of equipment. Did you check the breaker first? Did you check the gas pressure? Did you check the hose? Teaching them the very basis of troubleshooting before and after you get done with the site audit can be crucial to, placing that emergency phone call, or the janitor or the GM's going, "Hey, Luke, guess what? You never believe it, man. My fryer went down last night, but I got it back up and running because you taught me the basic troubleshooting skills of resetting my pilot, checking the breaker." Those asset skills there really help a GM and a team become successful, because they trust in you and what you say, or I guess you could say your words equal your deeds.
Yeah.
So,
And what's really kind of cool is over the years I've watched facility managers kind of morph into less, I'm going to say, facility people and more coaches. Because when you walk in the store and you teach them those small things, how to go flip a couple breakers, how to, all these little troubleshooting items that a lot of the time in the past, they would call them out and the electrician would get there and go, "Oh, boom." And now you have a $200 trip charge. And the operators appreciate that because that comes out of their bonus. It's a cost. So the cool thing is watching you guys educate your team and making those deposits with them. And I think that's one of the coolest thing about facility managers now is they really are part of the team. So we're gonna
100%.
we're gonna go on. Tell me, you got off the ship and you said, "I'm sick of the shiny seas. I'm gonna go do something different." How did you end up in multi-unit facilities?
It's kind of a little bit of a crazy backstory, but not too bad. So I got out the military and I went straight into field service technician working for Whirlpool Corporation as an appliance tech. As I was transitioning out the military, they had a program called TAPS. It was like transition assistance program for service members. And I went to a job hiring conference and Whirlpool was there. And after a couple of rounds of interviews with them, I got a job out of Baltimore, Maryland, running service calls, and then kind of just built my way up to like senior service technician. And it happened to land in a customer's home one afternoon for an ice machine that was broke, under counter ice machine. And they were calling us for a second opinion. And they're like, hey, look, this guy's saying it's going to cost us, over $1,000 to fix this thing. So just going back to my roots, seeking first to listen. Yeah. And he was like, I was cleaning the ice machine. I put it all back together and it hasn't worked since. Lo and behold, he just put a tube back in backwards and it was just draining. As the tank was filling, it was siphoning out. It was just a little error based on them. And just because of that, and like saving them money and this integrity and just showing them everything, how to do it, it was the owner, Dave DeSoulis of Hope Builders house. And he wasn't there, and it's actually his wife. And then she just kept hounding me. You've got to talk to my husband. You've got to talk to my husband. I just know there's something there for you. You got to talk to him. So just one day out of the blue, talked with him. We kept going to an IHOP. And then one day I showed up for one of our morning meetings at like 7 a.m. Dale Moore and Tim Birdseye were sitting at the table, and I've never met either one of them. And we had talked through. And then shortly after, here I am working for Hope Builders, working under the wing of Dale Moore, who since that date and time has been one of my greatest mentors. He's just an amazing person. And just kind of grew through the ranks there, helped lead and charge the facilities management team there, working in restaurants. We started the hot side division there, working for, Chipotle, Buffalo Wild Wings, Olive Garden, TGI Fridays, just a branch of restaurants, and helping GMs there, like service their equipment, And then the opportunity came, Dale Moore transitioned to Cava as a director of facilities. And he called me up one evening and is like, you ready for your shot? And ever since then, I've, jumped on board and been loving it since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, it's funny because we talked about the other day, I compare kind of any type of mentors to a coaching tree in the NFL. And Dale Moore in facilities has a coaching tree that is pretty amazing of the people that he has mentored and he has brought through. And so kudos to Dale for all that he's done for you guys. And Dale, you and I have talked one day because everybody says you're a great guy. So, and I know he's going to end up watching this because he watches all his mentees that he's kind of brought through. Indeed. He will watch it. So that's really cool. Let me ask you, this is a fun question because I never know what I'm going to get. Give me a grin or groan story. What is a story of a facility emergency that you had that you either laughed your what off, or you almost cried like a 5-year-old?
Oh, man, there's a Rolodex. I'd have to say one of the craziest ones I've ever been a part of, just being directly hands-on. We were opening a restaurant down in just outside of Roanoke, Virginia. And man, this place is in the middle of nowhere. You can't get a service vendor to save your life. It's a 6-hour trip charge there and back. Just a very difficult situation. And we just opened a brand new restaurant and the hot water heater went down. And we just, water heaters down. That's an emergency, not one. We can't close the restaurant. We're not going to close the restaurant. We need to get it fixed and open. So literally throughout the entire day, we finally land a plumber. They get on site and they're like, the Ansel system pull lever channel and the tubing, and behold you, the water heater is not on the floor like a standard restaurant would be. This is 8 feet in the air on a platform, tied into everything. And the Ansel station pull conduit is all ran in front of the water heater.
Oh my God.
So without removing the Ansel system and removing the pull line and everything like that, we wouldn't be able to get the water heater down or get it open, ready for the next morning. So I literally left my home in Mount Airy, Maryland, and drove to Roanoke, Virginia that night. And on the way there, just calling every single person I could possibly imagine, and finally landed at Ansel Tech. And we got down there. We took out the entire ceiling grid. We pulled the Ansel system out, reconfigured it. The plumbers were able to get the water heater out and get it back in and up in operation for the next morning.
And I think that whole story, what people don't understand is a closed restaurant isn't just a closed restaurant. It
Right.
is a lot of money that y'all are losing. And so when those 911 comes in, and especially in your situation, you're in a remote location. I always joked that engineers and architects need to be in the restaurant industry, in a restaurant, and trying to function it before they start drawing plans. Because some of them, you're like, who designed this?
No, for sure. And that's why and I think it's a great thing in the facilities industry now is that you're seeing more and more as restaurants are developed and built, the facilities teams are being brought in much sooner than cut date of the drawings.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be able to be put in there and be like, oh, the mop sink's not going to fit there, or this floor drain's not going to work. You're going to end up putting a POS station right over top of it. Then it's a drain trap. You're never going to use it. And then like, why does it smell so bad in here? I was like, well, here you go. The trap's dry and it's underneath the POS station that is secured to the floor now.
Yeah. Yep.
And it helps the restaurants last 10 times longer.
It really does. And bringing y'all into those conversations, it's practical, it's functional. Y'all understand the operations. And typically your GMs are going to go, hey, somebody knew what they were doing when they designed this. So that's a neat thing to see it happening over the years. Let's get to my favorite part. So we talked about Wonder the other day. Can you give me a brief overview of Wonder and kind of the concept? Because it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place for sure. Wonderful is definitely I would consider it like a hybrid kitchen. It's a one brick and mortar front. And that night when you want to bring the kids out to dinner or you're home and mom is exhausted and she doesn't feel like cooking, but Tommy wants pizza, Jilly wants Mexican food or, a burrito, and, dad wants a steak, you can come to our storefront and order from a platform of restaurants for our hybrid kitchen and order anything and everything the whole family wants at a one-stop shop. And we're able to make it there immediately and as fresh as it were to be made in a restaurant across the street, as if you went to each one individually and picked up your order.
So you hear that, parents? No more chicken nuggets. Take them to Wonder and you get whatever you want. You even get a steak. I know that being a dad, I was ending up at McDonald's because the kids wanted chicken nuggets. And I've seen those videos of, never mind, I'll get off track on that. But you told me something else about how it started that was a pretty unique way to start a company.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to learn. And, as I continue to grow my knowledge here at Wonder and a part of this team, they start out with just food trucks. And, most people think like food truck or the nickname gut truck. Um, it's parked at the city block or around the corner and at a construction job site. No, Wonders trucks were great in the aspect of, cool, like we're going to come meal prep for you. We're going to pull up in your driveway, do all your prep, your cook, and deliver it fresh to your door. So that's how Wonder itself was initially started, with like over about 300 food trucks.
Wow. Wow. So I'm gonna flip back now that everybody knows a little bit about Wonder. We talked the other day actually about preventive maintenance and how important it is. And a lot of times operators have to be educated on preventive maintenance because they just see it as a P&L line that they're giving money away. How do you educate your operators on preventive maintenance and the benefits of it?
So it always starts out, it's a great topic too, because most time it just starts out with suppression systems. That's just in general. We have to have that preventive maintenance done there. And 9 times out of 10, a GM sometimes won't realize the severity of that preventative maintenance until that fire marshal's knocking at the front door saying, may I come in for the inspection, and then hit them with a list of items and penalties. They're going to fine you for everything. There's your CO2 bottle's not mounted properly. One's off the hanger. Why is your K class on the floor? Why are there no tags hanging from your suppression system?
Mm-hmm.
All those things like that. We try to, during our audits, our site audits, and our walkthrough, educate them as we step through that process. Hey, look, when you're in site and you're doing your site walks by yourself or with your regional, just take 5 extra minutes, check your tags, check your ANSEL system, check the interior of your hoods. That way they know ahead of time before the fire marshal gets there and hits you $300 per item.
Yeah.
Because that's when they really realize it. It's like, oh crap, not only am I out of sync with my permanent maintenance, my tags are missing. Now I got to pay extra to fulfill the penalties and everything else like that.
Yep. Yep. Well, and you just reminded me, I need to change my air filter on my HVAC because I don't think it's been changed in a while. But that's one of your biggest assets for the restaurant is your HVAC, and preventive maintenance can give you 3 to 5 years, 30%, extra life out of a unit. And those are pretty dang expensive.
Yeah. Out of minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I need to go change my filter soon after the show. So let me ask you this coming from the vendor side. We talked about relationships and we talked about having somebody you can trust. What do you look for in a partner?
So if I'm just searching my vendors and we're meeting in person and we're just getting on track, the first thing I try to get out of them is transparency, and honesty up front as much as possible. And my favorite question to ask a vendor is, what are your weakest points? Where are you not good serving? Because if we both know where you're not good, we'll both be successful in the long run. For everything that we do together, I know you'll be successful because I'm not going to give you your weak points.
Yep.
I'm not going to send you for that P1 for electrical outlets blown when you told me, last week that, look, we're horrible in Massachusetts with electricians, but I'm amazing in New York. Well, I'm not going to send you to Mass. I'll send you to New York.
Yep. Exactly.
Those bases, let me know where you fail and we'll make sure we're both successful.
Off the record, but actually on LinkedIn Live, how many salespeople say, "Oh, we don't have a weakness"?
It's funny. There's a lot, and as I say, transparency is key. I'm very transparent as well. There is a whole lot, but you eventually get it out of them.
Yeah.
You just let, as soon as you tell them, is like, in order for me to be successful, you need to be successful. And as soon as you kind of, fulfill them, make them comfortable, then like, oh, well, actually over in this state, we're pretty bad at this. Um, but it does come out. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely a lot of, you know, just dressing up a pig in lipstick or amazing. We don't do anything wrong. We got everything covered,
Yep.
and it
It's
all comes out.
it's like I told you the other day is everybody can sell on features and benefits.
That's
And
it.
and that's just I'm relational, and that's why I like it better, because everybody's going to say, "Oh, we're the best at everything." But is that person going to answer the phone at Saturday at 5 o'clock when that HVAC goes down? Is that person going to do everything they can to get somebody out on a 2 hour priority? Are they going to, are they going to be a true partner to you? Are they going to look at your invoices and not send you crazy pricing just because they know the name Wonder? So it's all about give and take in the facilities
Hundred
industry,
percent.
and that's what I love about getting to meet all you guys and girls is is building that relationship. And I always tell people, I said, you may not be a customer tomorrow or the next year, but there'll be an emergency where you go, I'm calling Paul.
That's it.
And usually that's no pun intended. That's when the hero comes out. So I'm going to ask you I'm giving you a little bit longer because this is a fun question. And I end every show like this. So, what is the one question that I did not ask you today, but I should have asked you? And why?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great way to end the show, right? Ah, man, I had to think on that one. So let's see. A question that you should have asked me that you didn't. Hmm. What is my favorite part about the job?
Okay. What is your favorite part about the job?
I'd have to say my absolute favorite part of the job is the reward of being on the phone with the GM or just that staff members who's calling you at 2 in the morning and the fire's blazing and they're in the deepest moments of I don't know what to do and I can't figure it out. And recalling on our facility strengths in the moment and then in the know-hows and the do's and the don'ts and walking them out of the fire, getting them to safety mentally and sometimes physically. But
Mm-hmm.
when they're just in sheer panic mode and being able to calm them down and get them to a breathing understanding, and then they just come back with that gratefulness and thank you, and they'll remember it forever, and that kind of thing that really excites me is like when we're able to help operations just calm the chaos. At the end of the day, it's just that carousel of chaos. The timer's up. Boop. The carousel stops. Let's all get off the ride, at least for
Yep.
tonight. And tomorrow's a new day.
That's and that's what I'm seeing more with facility managers is there really is a pride with taking care of their operators because their operators become family to them, and they want them to succeed. And so those late night calls, and when you can, I'm going to end it on a dad joke, but when you can calm the seas,
That's it.
uh, it's rewarding. So I know you're a busy man. You've probably had your phone go off about 20 times already, and there's pipes bust somewhere or there's a HVAC out. So I'm going to let you run. But Luke, once again, thank you for your service. I appreciate you coming on Facilities First, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely,
All right,
Paul. Thank you
guys.
so much. I appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
All right, take care.